Hello everyone, this is part 36 of What If Naruto Was the Child of the Moon in Percy Jackson, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Naruto joined Percy in the sword arena. He found him talking to Nico and Bianca. The boy almost blurted out laughing when he saw his brother drenched in doggy slobber. I guess the water boy powers didn't work on dog saliva. Luna jumped Naruto as the boy entered the vicinity. She was as big as Mrs. O'Leary now. So, Naruto was in the same predicament as Percy. Can't talk now, can you? Percy chided. Shut up, Naruto grumbled. He focused on the two siblings. So, you're back. How did it go? Bianca's just as good as me now, Nico said. Maybe even better. Naruto looked at the girl with wide eyes. You're amazing. Bianca blushed at the praise. Only 'cause I had a good teacher. So, why come back now of all times? Percy asked. It's time, Nico said. I need to hear your answer. We can give you the same powers as Luke. Naruto and the two children of the Hades stared at Percy. This was the topic they had way back in Percy's birthday party. Back then, the son of Poseidon was still unsure of his answer. Now it wasn't any different. I don't know, Percy said. Maybe we should wait. No, Nico snapped. It has to be now. Nico, Bianca gave her brother a stern look. Nico looked apologetic. Sorry, it's just that we're running out of time. What's the deadline? Naruto asked. The door of Orpheus, Bianca answered. Naruto wasn't surprised. As with everything in Greek mythology, the doors of Orpheus also moved to the United States when the gods migrated. The guy with a harp. Percy said, finally recognizing a name. Nice try, Percy, but it was a liar, Naruto corrected. But don't we need music to open the doors? So we need Grover, then, Percy suggested. He couldn't think of any other musically inclined person or nature spirit that he could take with him into a super dangerous quest. Does that mean you agree to my plans? Nico asked hopefully. Percy thought for a second. He wasn't going to lie. He remembered how his sword bounced harmlessly off of his skin. How was he going to fight against that? He might as well have his soul reaped willingly. Fine. Percy stood up. Where do we go first? While we're here, why don't we ask the council where Grover is? Naruto suggested. That's a good idea. Nico stood up as well. Let's go. Get this beast off of me. A voice complained from within the throne rooms of the Council of Cloven Elders. The place looked a lot different from the time of Grover's trial. Now, the place didn't look so good. The grass had turned yellow. The three topiary thrones had lost all their leaves. The demigods were treated to a very amusing sight. A very old, very fat satyr was in his words being harassed by the lovable hellhound. The satyr locked eyes with Percy. You there, Perseus Jackson? Is this your beast? Get him off me. Sorry, Lennius, I said. That's your name, right? The satyr rolled his eyes. His fur was dust bunny gray, and a spiderweb grew between his horns. His belly would have made him an invincible bumper car. Well, of course I'm Lennius. Don't tell me you've forgotten a member of the council so quickly. Now, call off your beast. The other nature spirit in the clearing was giving him a very pleased look. It was Juniper. Dryad or not, she was pretty. She was wearing a purple gossamer dress. She had an elfish face, but her eyes were green tinted with chlorophyll from crying. Sniff. Lennius jumped when he sensed another of the beasts in the vicinity lurking and sniffing his behind. Gar, there's another one. The satyr called out to her. Make it go away. Juniper, I will not help you under these circumstances. Naruto and Percy held off the dogs. Naruto then turned to Juniper and said, I assume we have the same favor to ask. Percy, she sniffled. I was just asking about Grover. I know something's happened. He wouldn't stay gone this long if he wasn't in trouble. I was hoping that Lennius. I told you. The satyr protested. You were better off without that traitor. Juniper stamped her foot. He is not a traitor. He's the bravest satyr ever, and I want to know where he is. Lennius's knees started knocking. I won't answer any questions with these beasts harassing me. Nico couldn't hold in his laughter. Naruto smiled. It was nice to see that even though Nico had gone through what he did, he was slowly getting back to his old self. What's so funny, demigod? Linnaeus tried to sound intimidating despite his shaking knees. Nothing, he answered as he tried to suppress his laughter. Come on, Bianca. Let's walk the dogs. Linnaeus huffed indignantly and brushed the twigs off his shirt. Now, as I was trying to explain, young lady, your boyfriend has not sent any reports since we voted him into exile. Tried is the operative word here, Linnaeus, Naruto emphasized. That did not work out well for you, did it? Bah. Those other 3 votes do not count. He spat. Those votes came from honorary members. It was not a proper vote. Oh. Mr. D would love to hear this, Percy threatened slyly. The satyr paled. I only meant, grr, now see here, Jackson, this is none of your business. Naruto raised an eyebrow. No, you listen, he said, releasing a bit of killing intent. Grover is our friend, which makes this damn well our business. You should just accept that Pan is no longer with us. Why can't you accept the truth? No. Grover's a liar and good riddance. We're better off without him. The satyr argued despite his urge to shit his pants. Percy steamed at Linoy's declaration. He pointed at the Topiri thrones. If things are going so well, where are your friends? Looks like your council hasn't been meeting lately. Marin and Silenus, I'm sure they'll be back, he said, with a panic-stricken voice. They're just taking some time off to think. It's been a very unsettling year. If you think that's unsettling, then you've seen nothing yet. Naruto let the threat hang in the air. With the upcoming war, we need Grover more than ever. The old satyr's eye twitched. He tried to act tough. This is not our war. And even if we were fighting, I haven't heard of that traitor. He's most probably dead. Juniper choked back a sob. We're very much alive, aren't we? Percy argued. If something did happen to him, Naruto and I would be the first to know. Empathy links, Linnaeus said disdainfully. Very unreliable. So, if they're unreliable as you say they are, then do something about it. Naruto ordered. You're a leader of the nature spirits. Act like one. Grover is acting more like a leader in this war than you expired goats have ever been your entire lives. Bah. That exile. He's gathering up the nature spirits without permission. I refuse. This is not our war. Linnaeus saying with finality. With those words, Percy snapped. He grabbed the old satyr by the collar and raised him a little bit off the ground. Listen, Linnaeus. When Kronos attacks, there will be more of Mrs. O'Leary's species running about, and I'm telling you, they will not be friendly. Even if you are neutral in the war, do you think he'll let the satyrs go free? Now get your ass out of here and go lead. Percy shoved the satyr back. It wasn't hard, but the goat wasn't able to maintain balance, so he fell on his furry rump. Then, he scrambled to his hooves and scurried away, his pot belly jiggling while he ran, to his hooves and ran away with his belly jiggling. Grover will never be accepted. He will die an outcast. When he disappeared into the bushes, Juniper wiped her eyes. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't mean to get you involved. Linnaeus is still a lord of the wild. You don't want to make an enemy of him. If it's about Grover, I will gladly get involved, Naruto said. And it's just the Council of Cloven Elders, we have bigger things to worry about than some angry goat. At that moment, the Hades siblings had returned from the short walk. What did you two do to make him that scared? Bianca asked. We just told him what we're up against, Naruto explained. That pretty much sealed the deal. More importantly, what did you find? Nico added. Nothing much, Percy answered. He doesn't know anything. That sucks, Nico said. We'll have to go now. Why? What's the rush? Juniper asked. We're trying to give a fighting chance when he fights Kronos, Luke, Nico answered. We need someone to open the door of Orpheus. Juniper gave them a puzzled look. What did you want to do in the underworld? Is there some kind of weapon you could find or a warrior to help you fight? Nico twiddled his thumbs. Oh, you know. Get Percy to have a dip in the sticks. Juniper gasped. She turned to Bianca and said. And you're on board with this? Well, I trust Nico's judgment on this one, and he's right. Percy needs a fighting chance, Bianca said. But that's dangerous, Juniper warned. And should I mention extreme? Percy added. Nico put a hand on Percy's shoulder. Percy, this is a war. Maybe it's a good thing to go the extreme route. Percy sighed. Fine, what do we do first? We need to retrace Luke's steps, Nico said, excitedly. I've already tracked down where Luke's mother is. She lives in Connecticut. Percy turned to Naruto. I'm guessing you have to start preparing for the trip to the elemental nations. Naruto nodded. I want to know more about our enemy, but it seems time is tight. Now Nico sent a glance at Bianca. You're intent on going with Naruto, huh? Naruto raised an eyebrow. You want to come with me? Yes. Bianca nodded. I want to come and support you. And, she felt her cheeks warm up. I want to see the place where you grew up in. Naruto grinned. Then it's settled. We'll leave as soon as we get ready. His expression got serious. Nico, keep an eye on Percy for me, will you? And Percy, be careful. I will, Percy said. And Naruto, good luck. Thanks, Naruto said, giving a 1,000-watt smile. I will master the fox's power and we'll give him hell. Percy returned the grin. Naruto raised a fist, and it was met with Percy's. This gesture gave the both of them confidence. Then Percy turned to Nico. So what do we do first? Nico and Bianca emerged from the forest with a very energetic Luna in tow. Annabeth immediately met him as soon as she saw them coming. Where have you been? She asked. And Bianca, I didn't know you were back. We just returned, Bianca said. Nico came to pick up Percy. Annabeth, at that moment, noticed that indeed the son of Poseidon was not with the two. Where did he take the seaweed brain? It was the special mission that Nico had been talking about all year, Naruto explained. Annabeth still looked confused. The dip in the sticks, Naruto said. That's dangerous, Annabeth exclaimed. That's what I told Nico, but he's pretty intent on giving Percy the fighting chance, Bianca nodded. Annabeth gave out an exasperated sigh. You boys and your dangerous quests. Luna yapped happily, seeing the daughter of Athena's stressed face. Naruto pet the large puppy on her head and grinned. Don't worry, it will be fine. I got my own super dangerous quest. Say, are you ready? The daughter of Athena's eyes brightened. She was bummed out about not being able to go to Naruto's world because of a little jealousy, but now, she had a chance. She could study the world's architecture, the culture, they were there for work. She shook those thoughts out of their heads. Annabeth nodded her head. I'm packed. Naruto raised an eyebrow. That was rather fast. When I saw an opportunity for me to visit the elemental nations, I immediately readied my things, Annabeth explained, excitedly. I'm coming with you too, Bianca volunteered. We'll get the two key players of this war ready on two fronts. Naruto nodded. It was a good idea. Percy would go on a quest to gain the blessing, curse of Achilles, while Naruto would face his inner demons, literally. They just had to trust the remaining campers to get ready on their end for war. And there's two more we have to take on this quest, Naruto said. Who? Was the collective question of the two other members of their little quest. Selena and Kakashi Sensei, Naruto listed. Mr. Kakashi, I understand, but Selena. Annabeth raised an eyebrow. I'll explain later. For now, why don't we meet at Talia's tree? Talia's pine tree. A symbol of sanctuary for campers of the demigod camp. A tree once inhabited by Talia in stasis, due to the work of his father after fighting valiantly to buy time for her friends to escape. Naruto placed a hand on the tree. Talia and he had grown close due to the shinobi's constant visits to her limbo. He had grown fond of the girl, but due to some meddling from the Titan Lord, he had to let her go. She had to join the ranks of Artemis hunters. Now, she was family, literally. Zoe walked up to Naruto on Half-Blood Hill and saw the gesture the blonde made. Do you have regrets, letting her go? She asked. I'd be lying if I said I didn't, Naruto answered without turning to look at her. He then turned to look at his sister. But you know what they say, if you love someone you have to let her go. That's very mature of you, Naruto, Zoe complimented. Naruto then got a melancholic look. Despite his young age, he exuded the air of an old man, one who had seen the depravity of human society and was forced to endure countless hardships. Well, growing up alone and fending for yourself tends to do that to you. Zoe was speechless. She could feel the suffering in the boy's eyes. His words carried the weight of his feelings. Now, being betrayed by some jerk hero didn't seem all that heavy. Then, Naruto smiled, which shocked her even more. How could he? Despite all the pain he was carrying, how could he still get himself to smile like that? She was broken out of her thoughts when Naruto spoke up again. Say, Zoe, I have a favor to ask. What is it? I know you want to come and make sure I don't do anything reckless on this trip, but could I ask you to stay at camp? Naruto pleaded. They'll need all the help they can get. And with Kakashi-sensei coming with us, someone needs to take over the training. You're the best choice to train them. Naruto bowed to his older sister. Naruto, Zoe said, I had no love for this camp. I could have cared less if this camp was wiped out or not. But ever since I lived here with all of you, playing capture the flag, the scroll capture, chariot racing, I am slowly seeing this camp as my home. We can't let Cabin 8 fall behind now, can we? So does that mean, yes, I will stay and defend the camp. Let's see if I can't whip these brats into shape. Naruto's eyes brightened. He rushed forward and wrapped his Oni-chan with a tight hug. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Zoe smiled. She couldn't help but show affection to his younger brother. Then, a few seconds later, Naruto pulled away. Sorry. I overstepped my boundaries. This isn't against your oath now, is it? Zoe shook her head. No, it's fine. And if you're worried about him that much, I'll watch him for you if you want. Another voice joined the conversation. I'd take you up on that, Zoe said. I was half expecting you to be the first one here, Naruto grinned. Well, I was debating if I should bring Daedalus's laptop or not. That and Malcolm and the others teasing, Annabeth sighed out. Why would they tease you? Naruto knit his eyebrows trying to think of a reason. Did you do something stupid? Selena clapped Naruto on the shoulders. Don't worry about it. Naruto looked to his sensei. Do you know what they're talking about? Kakashi shrugged. Like Selena said, you should not be worrying about that at the moment. More importantly, are you ready to transport us? Naruto nodded. They each placed a hand on Naruto. Then, he concentrated. He felt for the flying Raijin Jutsu formula. One felt like it was in the New York airport. One was right next to him, on Annabeth's necklace. He concentrated harder. He felt the kunai on Calypso's headboard. It wasn't quite there yet. He just needed to find the right kunai. There. Naruto's eyes shot open. Hiraishin no Jutsu. With that, the entire group disappeared in a golden flash, leaving Zoe alone with her task. Hokage office. Konohagakure. Yawn. Suna yawned as she stared at the mountain of paperwork that lay before her. Gah, stupid sensei dying on me like that. Now I have to do your job. She complained as she went through another document. Shizune hasn't been back for a while, the Hokage thought with a mischievous smile on her face. I just need one sip of sake and I'll be fine. As she poured the sake on her cup, a bright flash appeared out of nowhere in her office and startled her, causing her to spill the alcoholic beverage all over her lap. She stared at what she considered her life-giving beverage, with a mortified expression. It was her only stash of sake that she stored in her office. It was what kept her going through long days like this one. Now, it is all gone. What's up, Bar-chan? Naruto greeted, irking her even more. Look what you made me do, brat. You made me spill my, Suna ranted at the boy who made her spill the cup of her lifeblood, but then she realized something. Wait, Gaki, how did you get here? You usually arrive through Toad summoning. I used the flying Raijin, Naruto stated simply. Suna's eyes widened. The fourth jutsu. Wow, there's so little we know about that jutsu. I'm surprised that it allows you to teleport across dimensions. I'm a little surprised, myself, Naruto chuckled as he scratched the back of his head. Suna smiled. You never cease to amaze me, Naruto. She then turned to Naruto's companions. I see you brought companions. Something's telling me you're not here for vacation. Naruto adopted a serious expression. Unfortunately, Barkan, we're not, actually, we're going to war. What? Kakashi stepped forward and explained the whole situation. He spared no details. He told her about the Titans rising, the attack on their camp, and the massive primordial on the way to New York. Suna let out a massive sigh. Gaki, you're giving me a massive headache. You always get tangled up in the messiest of circumstances. I'll say, you got that right. The two girls from Camp Half-Blood agreed to Suna's statement. Before we talk, why don't you introduce yourselves? Annabeth stepped forward and bowed. My name is Annabeth Chase. Naruto told me a lot about you. I'm Silena Beauregard. I'm Bianca D'Angelo. Tsunade nodded. I understand you're all demigods as well. Tsunade continued. And this Titan Kronos is fighting to take control of the world once again. Correct, Kakashi confirmed. And this primordial god was unleashed by Naruto and is on his way to crush the god's home. That's right, Annabeth verified. The Hokage massaged her head. Now I really need that drink now, so, you came to Elemental Nations because we need to look for Kumo's perfect Jinchuriki, Naruto said. I need to learn from him if I want to stand a chance against Typhon. The headache seemed to deepen. I understand your urgency, Naruto, but the problem is, setting foot into Kumo could be seen as an act of war. Naruto sighed. All that determination was thrown out the window. But it was like fate was spitting on their face. A wrench was thrown in their plans. The door slammed open. Shizune rushed inside, with so much distress that she didn't notice the people in the Hokage's office. Lady Tsunade. Urgent news from Suna. The Kazekage has been captured. The Kazekage. Naruto knit his eyebrows. Shizune had a very shocked expression on her face. Naruto and Kakashi were in the Hokage office with 4 unfamiliar faces. Due to the urgency of the situation, Shizune quickly regained her composure. You've been gone a while, Naruto, but your friend Gaara has been appointed as the Kazekage. Naruto had mixed feelings. Firstly, his friend and fellow Jinchuriki who has shared his pain was finally acknowledged and loved by the people of Suna. Now, he had achieved what Naruto could not, to become a Kage. On the other hand, his heart sank. Just when things were looking up for Gaara, someone came in and ruined it for him. He wasn't having this. Naruto stepped forward and slammed his hand onto the Hokage desk. Lady Tsunade, permission to be dispatched to the support team to Suna as soon as possible. Naruto. Annabeth scolded the blonde for his behavior. We have a deadline of our own. Now, Annabeth, Kakashi calmed the girl down. I assume that Naruto has told you about his past. Annabeth nodded. Seeing the response, Kakashi continued. Gaara is a similar case to Naruto. The two of them understand each other's pain. Annabeth looked at the blonde who was currently arguing with the village leader. She gained a determined look. She walked forward and was side to side with the orange-loving blonde. We'll take the detour. We cannot abandon Naruto's friend. Naruto looked at Annabeth with wide eyes. Annabeth, why you? She returned the look with a smile. Tsunade smiled. She was going to send out another team in order to free up the schedule, but this boy was really adamant about this mission. All right, as long as your group is in agreement, I will send you, Tsunade finally relented. Naruto turned back to his party. Please guys, I need to do this. I promise to work extra hard when we find wherever we should train. Byakuya nudged Naruto. I will support you on whatever you decide. Silena placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. I owe you one for not giving up on me despite knowing the truth. Time for me to return the favor. Alright, Kakashi clapped his hands together. I'm sorry to our guests, but we have to leave immediately on a mission. Look for Temari, Tsunade advised. She is currently in the village for the Chunin exams. Understood. Streets of Konoha. Temari and Shikamaru were strolling after completing the tasks they had for the day and setting up the said Chunin exams. One could say they were on a date, but don't ask the two of them, they'll vehemently deny it. Hey, Shikamaru. Sakura ran into the couple. How are the preparations? Everything's set for the exams, we just have to. Oi Shikamaru. Naruto's loud voice interrupted the pineapple-haired teen. Hey, is it just me or is Naruto back in Konoha again? The boy asked. That brat. Temari asked. Oi, there it was again. Seriously, I hear it, Shikamaru said. It was then that Naruto appeared next to the boy. Tsunade no Barkan told me that you'd be having a date with Temari-san, right about now. The two teens in question suddenly turned red. We are not. Me. Date this lazy bum. Temari protested. There's no way in hell. Just then, Annabeth and the others caught up with the blonde. Sorry for the interruption, Shikamaru, Kakashi greeted lazily. But we need to borrow Temari-san. What? Me? Temari asked, at the mention of her name. What do you need me for? Don't freak, Temari-san, Naruto began. But we need you to escort us to Suna ASAP. Gaara is in trouble. What? Was the only thing that the Jonin was able to say due to her shock. It's true, Kakashi confirmed. We just got word too. Then, there's no time to waste, Temari said. We leave immediately. Hey Naruto, Annabeth called out to his fellow blonde that was very far away from the group. Grr, I swear, he's even worse than before. Why's he got to run off like that? Oh, I guess he didn't tell, did he? Kakashi spoke. Flashback. A massive nine-tailed fox was standing face to face against a massive one-tailed tanuki. Keke. Your cheap transformation won't defeat me. The Shukaku cackled. Remember Gaki, one blow on the Jinchuriki to wake him up, Gamabunta spoke from within the nine tails. Got it, boss, Naruto replied. Futon, Renkuden. The Shukaku took a deep breath. Its belly grew considerably. Slamming a hand on the belly, compressed pressurized air was shot out towards the fox. The fox leapt into the air, causing the attack to miss. Landing on its feet, the fox charged. It raised its claw and slashed. The tanuki blocked it. With its free hand, it blew more compressed air. The fox zigzagged in between the air bullets and bit into tanuki's flesh, or more like sand. OWW. You stupid fox. The Shukaku roared in pain. At that moment, the fox transformation was undone, revealing Gamabunta, the toad boss, who was biting the tanuki in place of the fox despite having no teeth. On top of its head, there was Naruto, poised to strike. Go, Gaki, the toad boss ordered. Naruto leapt towards Gaara, who was under his tanuki neri no jutsu. Sand gathered around Naruto and tried to wrap around him, but the blonde was quicker. A kunai appeared in his hand and he sliced through sand. He landed on the tanuki's head, which proved to be a mistake, as the sand body turned into quicksand, causing his feet to sink. Gaki, the toad boss yelled in concern. But Naruto was not fazed by his situation. He tapped into the fox chakra. The sand exploded around him as he dashed forward. He landed one well-placed strike on the sand shinobi's cheek. No. The Shukaku wailed, as the sand Jinchuriki started to wake up. Gaara's eyes fluttered open from the pain of the punch. He held out his hand and sent sand onto Naruto to restrict his movements. Naruto powered through and flipped, struck with his heel. That was the attack that did it. Shukaku's form began to crack and crumble. The two genin fell onto the tree tops. Gaara stood up and glared at the blonde. Naruto returned it with a ferocious glare of his own. Gaki, my time is up. Good luck, Gamabunta bid his summoner goodbye. The two combatants took the massive puff of smoke as their cue. They leapt at each other. Naruto was the first to strike, giving one solid blow to the head. Gaara tried to counter, but the blonde disappeared. He felt a finger touch his back. Tilting his head back, he was surprised to see Naruto behind him, matching his descent to the ground. Before the sand shinobi could do anything, Naruto wrapped his hands around his opponent. They then began to spin as they continued the descent into the ground, breaking through the sand that tried to form to protect him. As they slammed into the ground shook slowly from the impact and dust was kicked up. When the dust cloud was cleared, it was revealed that Naruto was standing over a beaten Gaara. Why you? Gaara croaked. Why are you so strong? Someone once told me, you are your strongest if you fight to protect something precious to you, Naruto said. His eyes then turned cold, turning into the slit pupils of the nine-tailed fox. That being said, if you ever lay a hand on my friends, I'll kill you. For the first time, Gaara felt fear. He felt remorse for daring to hurt this boy's friends. He felt like he could actually die at this blonde's hands if push comes to shove. What are you? He asked, his voice quivering in fear. The same as you. End of flashback. So that's why Naruto feels this strongly to save his friend, Bianca said after hearing how Gaara and Naruto were connected. The group made it to the edge of the forest. The border between the High no Kuni and K's no Kuni. They were now walking, not too slowly, they still had the sense of urgency. But still, he should still think of us, Silena complained. Not all of us are shinobi. I'm sorry guys, Bianca apologized. I could shadow travel us there, but since I haven't been here before, who knows where I would take us? Shadow travel? Sakura asked. Is that related to the Nara clan hidden techniques? Bianca clicked her tongue internally at her slip-up. She tried to come up with some excuse, but Kakashi beat him to it. It's from where they came from, Kakashi spoke up. Oh okay, Sakura answered, but she wasn't buying it. From his sensei's prolonged absences and the secrecy around Naruto's story, she began to suspect something fishy going on. She really is a smart girl. She then clicked her tongue. She saw Annabeth sitting beside Naruto. She could see the adoration in her eyes. It was unlike the eyes she held for Sasuke back in her fangirling days. This girl, her feelings go deeper than she could ever imagine. She saw Naruto's expression soften every time this girl would talk to him. Selena saw the look that Sakura was sending their way. She smirked. As a daughter of the love goddess, she understood what was going on here. Getting jealous, are we? The girl teased. WHWH what? NN no, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. It's not that I like him or anything. Sakura sputtered out and scrambled her words together. Selena smirked. I didn't say you like him. Sakura turned beet red. She covered her mouth in embarrassment. Did I say that out loud? Yes you did, Kakashi answered. What happened, Sakura? Here I thought you hated Naruto. It's not that I hated him, he was just annoying and stupid, and then, Sakura struggled to find a reason. Then he disappeared. Well, you don't know what you have until you lose it, Selena said. The group was silent as they watched Naruto start to laugh. It seems Naruto had cheered up after a little pep talk by Annabeth. To break the awkward silence, Selena sent a question to the Suna nin. You and that pineapple-haired boy are dating, aren't you? What? No. Temari denied vehemently in disgust. I would never date someone as lazy as that guy. Selena held her hands up. I'm just saying. I know a date when I see one. Temari narrowed her eyes. What are you? Some kind of love guru? I guess you could say that. That was the last thing that was said before the ambush began. It was then the leaves rustled around them. Then, a lone figure stood in front of them. Uchiha Itachi, Naruto said coldly as soon as he recognized the man. Hello, Naruto-kun, Itachi greeted him. Get out of our way. Naruto demanded. We have to get to Gaara right away. I cannot do that, Naruto, Itachi shook his head. Naruto grit his teeth and rushed forward. Naruto, wait. Despite the warnings, the blonde lunged for an attack. The attack connected. But as soon as the attack landed, Itachi's form burst into a murder of crows. Naruto found himself in a formless world with a reddish hue. He was floating in the air. In front of him, another murder converged, and in front of him was Itachi. Relax, Itachi spoke. I just want to talk. We have nothing to talk about. Naruto snapped. You were the cause of Sasuke leaving the village. As a leaf shinobi, it is my job to bring you in, dead or alive. And what of Sasuke? Itachi asked. He and I are in the same predicament now. I will save him. I promised Sakura I would bring him back to Konoha, Naruto said resolutely. Itachi smiled. It pained him to keep his side mission to himself. He regretted not confiding in anyone. He regretted shouldering the whole Uchiha defection all on his own. Perhaps now, with Sasuke's disappearance from the elemental nations, he could entrust it to someone else. He just had to atone for his sins in his hand in the massacre of his clan. He had to die by Sasuke's hand. What's so funny? Naruto asked. It's nothing, Itachi said. I assume, whichever place you disappeared to, Sasuke was there. Naruto was surprised. Only he and Tsunade no Barkan had intel on the land ruled by the gods. And maybe even Orochimaru, but apart from him, there is no one else who knows. He knew from his history that Itachi was considered a genius, but that doesn't explain how he was able to deduce that far. So what if he is? Naruto said. I'll take that as a yes, Itachi nodded. And as a thanks for pointing me in the right direction, I will give you 2 gifts. First, a tidbit of information that I know that you will appreciate. And the second. Itachi sent a crow towards Naruto. Not expecting the animal, he wasn't able to do anything as the bird forced itself down his throat. What the hell did you do to me? Naruto complained. With how things are going so far, I do not see a better time when I could give this to you, Itachi said. I know Sasuke's next move after he has dealt with me. Okay. Naruto didn't know what to say to that. And the information. Oh, I've longed to see how you've improved all this time, Itachi smiled. You will get the information you seek once you defeat me. Words of advice, don't hold back. With that, Naruto was thrust back to the real world. Ruto. Naruto. He could hear the girls calling out to him. What's going on? Naruto asked as he was back in the world of consciousness. He saw Bianca and Selena standing guard as they were trying to get him out of his trance. You were spacing out there. Selena scolded. What's with you? This is so unlike you. Genjutsu, Naruto explained. He caught me and talked to me. More importantly, where are the others? Selena pointed ahead. Kakashi and Sakura were engaging Itachi. The rogue nin was gracefully avoiding their attack, with Sharingan active. Through sheer instinct, he was also able to avoid the invisible attacks. Alright, guys, Naruto began. Continue the attack. Overwhelm his visual prowess. And Bianca, when you get the chance, sneak up behind him with your shadow travel. Right, the two said. Naruto and Selena joined the fray. Naruto had to hand it to the visual prowess. It was able to keep up even with 4 opponents gunning for your throat. He dreaded to think how Madara Uchiha fought. And he was beginning to see why Itachi was touted as a prodigy. Bianca stabbed the ground with her dagger that was as black as the night sky. Bones of the undead rose and answered her beck and call, but she didn't expect what happened next. The bones formed flesh and clothes. Now, she had an army of undead shinobi wearing attire from Iwa and Konoha. Shrugging this off, she ordered the zombies to charge. Sakura lunged forward, zigzagging through the hobbling zombies. She threw a punch in the first opening she saw. Itachi raised his hand to block, but he didn't expect the girl's strength. The sickening sound of bone breaking rang throughout the battlefield. The force of the punch sent him skidding backwards. Naruto sprang into action. With kunai in hand, he began to engage. With his non-dominant hand, Itachi brought out a blade of his own to defend himself. The two blades clashed as Naruto pressured the Konoha deserter. He and Selena were actually overwhelming him as the Akatsuki member was not used to fighting with his non-dominant hand. Just then, Naruto smirked. The ground beneath Itachi broke as Naruto emerged from underground, sending a mean left hook to the Uchiha. With quick thinking, Itachi leapt in the air to avoid the blow. Unbeknownst to him, the pink-haired Kunoiki was in the air ready to give a chakra-laced punch to Itachi. Shanaro. The girl screamed as the punch connected, creating a shockwave behind him. Sakura's grin disappeared as Itachi's form broke into a murder of crows. In the shrubbery where Itachi disappeared too, he caught his breath from the earlier skirmish. Fighting 6 people at once was a tall task. That's for sure. He smiled. Despite how strong Naruto was growing, he still relied on his comrades, unlike himself. As he mused to himself, the final steps of their plan was going underway. The shadows around him contorted and seemingly spit out 2 figures. Not expecting the ambush, he was unprepared as he was stabbed in the chest by a Reikiri. Back with the rest of the group, Sakura was beaming with pride as the kid who was once touted as the dead last of their class had improved so much. Wow, Naruto, you've improved so much, Sakura complimented. Where did you learn how to fight like that? Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Oh, you know. Annabeth took off her New York Yankees baseball cap. She walked up to them before Naruto could answer. He's learned from the best teachers at camp. What's your problem with me? Sakura asked. Can't I talk to my friend right here? Fine, but I'm watching you. Annabeth narrowed her eyes. Kakashi and Bianca emerged from the foliage, dragging the body of the defeated opponent. Everyone, come take a look at this, he called out to his squad. What's up, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto walked towards the Jonin with his hands behind his head, ignoring the 2 girls who were now glaring at each other. You have to come and take a look at this, Kakashi said as he laid the body on the ground gently. It was a man with black hair that hung over his right eye, a goatee, and dark eyes. He was wearing an Akatsuki cloak with mesh armor underneath and black trousers and sandals. Wait, this is not Itachi, Sakura pointed out the obvious. That's right, Kakashi nodded. What's happening? Annabeth asked. I don't know. There's so much we don't know about the Akatsuki, Kakashi said. But one thing's for certain, the man we were fighting really was Itachi. The Akatsuki have some weird jutsu, Naruto sighed. There's nothing we can do now. We have to seal his body in a scroll and bring him back to Suna, Kakashi said. But won't they think we killed him? Naruto asked. We'll cross the bridge when we get there, Sakura put out. My, You're sounding a whole like Naruto, Kakashi pointed out. Sakura blushed. What? No. I will have to agree on that, Annabeth interjected, earning a glare from the Pinkett. That's enough, Kakashi stopped them before any more arguing could break out. We continue onward to Suna. Right. Connecticut. It was Percy's personal recommendation not to go shadow traveling. He could say it was worse than the flying region. At least after the disorientation was over, you were good to go. This one, you were subjected to darkness the whole trip. But it was as instantaneous as the flying region. They found themselves in Connecticut. Percy had been here a few times, so he was familiar with the place. There were lots of trees, low stone walls, big houses. Down one side of the cliff, a highway cut through a ravine. On the other side of the cliff, there was someone's property. The house was a two-story white colonial. Despite the fact that it was right on the other side of the hill from a highway, it felt like it was in the middle of nowhere. The boys could see a light glowing in the kitchen window. A rusty old swing set stood under an apple tree. It was then that Percy remembered Nico's instructions. Percy slipped down the hellhound just in time to see her let out a huge yawn, then she turned in a circle and went to sleep. As the son of Poseidon was admiring the big girl's cuteness, the shadows darkened around him and created Nico beside Percy. How'd you do that? The son of Poseidon asked in amazement. A little practice, and a few accidental trips to China, Nico answered nonchalantly. So, are you going to need a nap too? Nico yawned. No, but it'll make me drowsy though. Mrs. O'Leary won't be going anywhere for a while though. So, we got quality time in Connecticut, what now? We ring the doorbell. Any normal human would be cautious of two strange kids ringing the doorbell at this hour, but May Castellan was no normal human. That should have been their first warning. The second warning came in the form of her yard. The sidewalk was lined with those little stuffed beanbag animals you see in gift shops. There were miniature lions, pigs, dragons, hydras, even a teeny minotaur in a little minotaur diaper. Judging from their sad shape, the beanbag creatures had been sitting out here a long time, since the snow melted last spring at least. One of the hydras had a tree sapling sprouting between its necks. The front porch was infested with wind chimes. Shiny bits of glass and metal clinked in the breeze. Brass ribbons tinkled like water and made me realize I needed to use the bathroom. I didn't know how May Castellan could stand all the noise. The front door was painted turquoise. The name Castellan was written in English, and below in Greek, Dioikits for Ryu. Nico looked at Percy. Ready. He didn't wait for Percy's answer. But even before his hand touched the door swung open followed by a happy cry. Luke. The old woman cried. The old woman was thin as a scarecrow. Her hair is white and stuck out in tufts all over her head. Percy could see her cloudy eyes intermittently become blank green, giving him horrible memories of the oracle at camp. She had an unnaturally stretched smile on her face, despite the scorch marks and smears of ash over her pink howdress. Oh my dear boy. She hugged Nico, which puzzled Percy because the two looked nothing alike. As Percy tried to think of the reason for the old woman's confusion, she turned to Percy and gave the boy a bone-crushing hug. Don't let that stature fool you, she can crush you with that hug. She let go of the seaweed brain, looked into his eyes, and smiled. Luke. Her voice was sweet and serene now. Come on in, she insisted. I have your lunch ready. She ushered him inside. The living room was even weirder than the front lawn. Mirrors and candles filled every available space. Above the mantel, a little bronze Hermes flew around the second hand of a ticking clock. Then, Percy noticed the picture on the mantel, and he froze. It was exactly like Rachel's sketch in his latest dream. Luke around 9 years old, with blonde hair and a big smile and 2 missing teeth. The lack of a scar on his face made him look like a different person, carefree and happy. It made him wonder how his clear-sighted friend knew about that. This way, my dear, she led him deeper into the house with Nico in tow. Oh, I told them you would come back. I knew it. She sat the two boys down on the kitchen table. Stacked on the counter were hundreds, of Tupperware boxes with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches inside. The ones on the bottom were green and moldy while the ones on top were freshly made. On top of the oven was a stack of cookie sheets. Each one had a dozen burned cookies on it. In the sink was a mountain of empty plastic Kool-Aid pitchers. A beanbag Medusa sat by the faucet like she was guarding the mess. May Castellan started humming. She got out a peanut butter and jelly and started making another sandwich. As she did, the smell of burning cooking wafted through their nostrils. More were coming on the way. Above the sink, taped all around the window, were dozens of little pictures cut from magazines and newspaper ads, pictures of Hermes from the FTD Flowers logo and Quickie cleaners, pictures of the caduceus from medical ads. Despite the terrible condition of the house, Ms. Castellan held a smile on her face. Nico coughed. Ms. Castellan. We need to ask you about your son. Oh yes, they told me he would never come back. But I knew better. She patted Percy's cheeks. When did you last see him? Her eyes lost focus. He was in the 3rd grade when he left. Too young. But I waited. He'll be back very soon. She met eyes with Percy. Luke, there you are. You look very handsome. You have your father's eyes. Percy gave Nico a pleading look. Silently, he was trying to say, can we go now? What happened to your eyes, Mom? Percy asked, playing the part of Luke. Her gaze seemed fractured, like she was trying to focus on the son of Poseidon through a kaleidoscope. Why, Luke, you know the story. It was right before you were born, wasn't it? I'd always been special, able to see through the, whatever they call it. Mist, the boy offered. Yes, dear. She nodded encouragingly. And they offered me an important job. That's how special I was. Percy glanced at Nico, but he looked just as confused. What sort of job? He prodded further. What happened? Ms. Castellan frowned. Her knife hovered over the sandwich bread. Dear me, it didn't work out, did it? Your father warned me not to try. He said it was too dangerous. But I had to. It was my destiny. And now, I still can't get the images out of my head. They make everything seem so fuzzy. Would you like some cookies? She pulled a tray out of the oven and dumped a dozen lumps of chocolate chip charcoal on the table. Luke was so kind, Ms. Castellan murmured. He left to protect me, you know. He said if he went away, the monsters wouldn't threaten me. But I told him the monsters are no threat. They sit outside on the sidewalk all day, and they never come in. She picked up the little stuffed Medusa from the windowsill. Do they, Mrs. Medusa? No, no threat at all. She beamed at me. I'm so glad you came home. I knew you weren't ashamed of me. Percy shifted in his seat. He couldn't imagine a young Luke living with his mom who wasn't exactly there. Mom, when did I last come home? A shadow seemed to pass over the kind old woman's face. The last time, you looked so different. A scar, a terrible scar, and your voice, full of pain. Were my eyes gold? Oh heavens no, your eyes are blue dear. Beautiful blue eyes. Nico placed a hand on the old woman's arm. This is very important, Mom. Did Luke ask you or anything? She frowned. My blessing. Isn't that sweet? She looked at both boys with uncertainty. He was going to a river. He said he needed my blessing. I gave it to him. Of course I did. Percy and Nico's eyes met. Nico gave him a triumphant look. Thank you, Mom. That's May Castellan suddenly straightened. Percy scrambled away. He could feel the same creepy energy that he had felt from the Oracle back on his first quest as a demigod. He did not want to feel that again. Then, in the deep raspy voice of the Oracle, she said, must protect him. Hermes, help. Not my child. Not his fate. No. Percy. Ms. Castellan screamed through the night. Her voice turned raspy. My child. Must protect him. Hermes, help. Not my child. Not his fate. No. She grabbed Nico's shoulders and shook him. Not his fate. He screamed, but his voice was strangled in his throat. Percy, we need to get. Suddenly, she doubled over. She was about to hit her head on the edge of the table. Fortunately, Percy caught her. Mom, Percy asked, still putting up the act. Are you okay? She shook her head and muttered something incomprehensible, though Percy could make out the word, cookies, somewhere in those muttering. She blinked, and her eyes were suddenly back to normal as if nothing happened. Are you okay? Percy asked. Ms. Castellan smiled and responded in a sweet old lady's voice with no trace of the raspy voice from before. Well, of course, dear, why do you ask? Percy glanced at Nico, who mouthed the word leave, but the son of Poseidon was persistent. If he learned anything from Naruto, it's that information was important. Mom, you were telling us something about me. He prodded further. Was I? She said dreamily. Yes, your eyes, your beautiful blue eyes. Such a handsome boy. I'm sorry, May Castellan, we have to go. Nico insisted. But you can't go. The old woman hastily got to her foot. Hermes will be here soon. He'll want to see his boy. Aye. Percy looked at the burned cookies all around him, and gave her a sad smile. It was clear he wasn't getting anything out of her. Maybe next time. Thank you for your hospitality. Percy and Nico were out the door, but May Castellan was surprisingly quick. At the porch outside, she grabbed Percy by the wrist. At least be safe, Luke. Promise me you will be safe. I will, Mom. She released her grip and went back into her house. Both boys ran. Back at the cliff, they stopped catching their breaths. A childlike voice caught them by surprise. It's nice to meet you, Percy Jackson. Percy turned to the sound of the voice. There was a cozy campfire, crackling in a ring of stones. An 8-year-old girl was sitting next to Mrs. O'Leary scratching her ears. Hestia? Percy asked. Nico bowed. Hello again, lady. Percy followed his example. Sit, Percy Jackson, she said. Would you like some dinner? A better part of Percy was relieved. He was hungry, and staring at moldy peanut butter and jelly sandwiches did not help with his hunger. Hestia waved a hand and platters of home-cooked meals appeared in front of her, including, surprisingly, a steaming bowl of ramen. There was also a 5-foot-long dog biscuit. Ramen. Percy raised an eyebrow. Hestia picked up the piping hot bowl and dug in. Yes, my champion's obsession with this food has rubbed off on me, so to say. I must say, I was hoping to meet him here with you, given that the two of you are pretty much involved in every quest of the godly world. Yeah. Percy hid his worry with a smile. I guess you could say he's off to face his inner demon. The lengths he would go to just to protect his friends, Hestia said with pride in her voice. I made the right decision. Now, dig in. Children, we can talk while you eat. Nico eagerly sat down. Despite the brave and serious face he was putting out, he had a hungry look in his eyes. Percy sat next to him and picked up some food to satiate his growing hunger. But before he could devour his food, he scraped some of his food into the crackling campfire. For the gods, he said. Hestia smiled. Thank you. As tender of the flames, I get a portion of each and every sacrifice, you know. You were the girl I saw in the hearth at camp, weren't you? Percy asked. I'm glad you remember me, Hestia said with a sad smile. I'm surprised you saw me at that time. Most people never do. Everyone is out rushing about. No time for family. No offense, my lady, Nico began. But why aren't you out with the other Olympians fighting Typhon? I'm not one for fighting, the goddess' eyes flickered with a comforting crackle of fire. Besides, someone must stay in Olympus and keep the fires burning. So you guard Mount Olympus? Percy asked. No, guard is such a strong word, Hestia shook her head. But if ever you need a warm place to sit and have a home-cooked meal, then you are welcome. Now eat. The two boys were hungry. They were too scared to have whatever May Castellan was offering them, so they haven't eaten till now. And when it comes to food, Hestias are the best. It makes you miss the days where you sit around the table and share food with your loved ones. Something that is hard to come by nowadays. So, how was your visit? Hestia asked as she took a sip of a bowl of ramen. Percy swallowed. The scary thought of the unhinged old lady with bright eyes and a maniacal smile returned. It unnerved him. Was she always like that? He managed to ask. Hestia shook her head. Once upon a time, she was born clear-sighted, a one-in-a-million gift. She could see through the veil that separates our world from the mortal world. She had many talents. So many in fact that he attracted Hermes, himself. What happened? She went too far. Percy and Nico perked up at the piece of information. What do you mean? Nico asked. The goddess's face darkened. That is a story I do not like to tell. But May Castellan saw too much. If you are to understand your enemy Luke, you must understand his family. Percy thought about his old friend turned enemy. 9 years old, he ran away. He couldn't blame him. Being left by your dad because of some stupid ancient laws, with your mom who has lost her mind at 9 years old. Even if just a little, he understood why Luke had deep-seated hatred for the gods. Hestia scratched Mrs. O'Leary's ears. The hellhound wagged her tail and accidentally knocked over a tree. So, what will you do? Hestia warned. Will you follow Luke's path? Nico set down his plate. We have no choice, my lady. It's the only way Percy would stand a chance. Hestia hummed. She opened her palm and the flames shot to almost 10 meters high. Not all powers are spectacular. Sometimes the hardest power to master is the power of yielding. Do you believe me? Yes, Percy said, but he didn't sound convinced. The goddess smiled, recognizing the doubt in the boy's voice. Do you know why I gave up my throne, Percy? Because you didn't want to fight with them. Percy guessed. Hestia nodded. Yes, when Dionysus was made a god, I gave up my throne for him. It was the only way to avoid a civil war among the gods. But didn't that unbalance the council? Suddenly there are 7 guys and 5 girls. Hestia shrugged. It was the best solution, not a perfect one. Now, I fade slowly into the background. Nobody will write epic poems about the deeds of Hestia. Most demigods never even stopped to talk to me, but then that boy came along. Just one look at him, even though he was alone all his life, I have never seen the wall of fire burn so brightly in someone before, not since Hashirama. She looked at Percy. Now, my ramblings aside, can you do this? Yield when necessary. I don't know what you mean. You are a good warrior, Percy, and it is hard for a warrior to yield, especially when in battle. You will understand my words soon. For now, will you continue your quest? Are you trying to stop me from going? No, I am here because when all else fails, when all the other mighty gods have gone off to war, I am all that's left. Home. Hearth. I am the last Olympian. You must remember me when you face your final decision. Percy looked to his friend then to the god. I have to continue, Lady Hestia. We have to stop Kronos. Very well. You'd best be careful then. I cannot be of much assistance, beyond what I have already told you. But since you sacrificed to me, I can return you to your own hearth. I will see you again, Percy, on Olympus. Hestia waved her hand, and everything faded. Line break. It was good to be home. Percy and Nico found themselves sitting on the Jackson residence couch, and Mrs. O'Leary was sleeping in the middle of the living room, flattening whatever decorations were there. Why is there a mountain of fur in the living room? Paul freaked out from the mezzanine floor of their apartment. Percy. Naruto. Are you home? I'm here. Percy shouted back. Woof. The massive black mastiff yapped happily, hearing Sally Jackson's voice. Unfortunately, the living room got trashed. After a few minutes of getting things in order, the family was sitting around the kitchen table with Percy getting everyone, more specifically the mortals, up to speed. So it's true, Paul said as he stared at Percy and the hellhound. Sally fed a family-sized tub of ground beef. Percy copied Naruto's gesture when he was flustered. Yes, sorry for keeping it from you. And I appreciate that you are not freaking out over this. Paul, the ever-understanding man he was, answered, I'm sure you had your reasons. But all those stories of monsters and demigods, they're all true. I'm freaking out over all of this. I think you're awesome, you and Naruto. Percy blushed. Thank you, but I have to say, Naruto is a special case. This surprised everyone around the table, even Sally. This is a story for another time. It's best that Naruto, himself, tells you, Percy said. Speaking of Naruto, I hope he's okay wherever he is, Sally said worriedly. So what did you come home for? Shouldn't you be at camp? Well, Percy told them what the demigods were up against and what the boys had done to prepare for it. For Naruto's case though, he just said that he went to train. So, it has come to this. Sally laced her fingers around her lemonade cup. She was stressed lately with her writing, just like she always dreamed of, so it pained Percy to tell him his plans. The river Styx, huh? Both you boys will be the death of me with all the worry. This is too dangerous, even for you. Percy gulped. He couldn't tell his mom now about Naruto going to tame a demon fox taller than the Empire State. But I need to do this, Mom, or we won't survive the invasion, Percy argued. An invasion of monsters, Paul said. I don't understand how an army of monsters can sneak into Manhattan without any of us seeing it. The mist is strong like that, Percy explained. Just look at Typhon, regular mortals just think he's a storm system. Ms. Jackson, Nico cut in, Percy needs your blessing. The process has to start that way. I wasn't sure until we met Luke's mom, but now I'm positive. This has only been done successfully twice before. Both times, the mother had to give her blessing. She had to be willing to let her son take the risk. Sally studied her son. I can't bless this. This is crazy. I can tell, even this scares you. Mom. Percy steadied his voice. It is a gamble, but I have to do this, for the sake of this world. I can't. Paul placed a hand over his wife's son. Sally, I can't claim to know what you and Percy have been going through all these years. But it sounds like Percy is doing something noble. I wish I had that much courage. Sally stared at her lemonade. She looked like she was trying not to cry. Percy remembered what Hestia told them just moments earlier. Percy, she said, I give you my blessing. To be completely honest, he was scared. He didn't know what to expect when he set out to do this quest. Was he coming out of this alive? Will he even succeed in what he sought to do? Will he? It was like Sally could read her son's thoughts. She knelt down in front of her son and put her hands on his cheeks and said, Perseus, hold fast. Brave the storm. Percy followed. The boy remembered the line. Sally used to tell him that when he was scared of the thunder when it was raining hard outside or when he was too nervous to go into yet another new school. With renewed vigor, Percy's face took on a determined expression. Thanks, Mom, he said. Before you go, can you do one last thing for me? Anything, Mom. When all of this is over, can you send me a sign? Anything to let me know Naruto and you are safe. Percy nodded. You got it, Mom. Naruto. Arg. Kankuro's screams of pain filled the halls of the treatment room as Sakura began to attend to the puppet master's injuries. Hold him still. Sakura urged the men in the room. Annabeth watched in awe as the bubbles of water remained intact on Sakura's hand and entered Kankuro's chest hole without bursting. This was a civilization that has the technological capacity as feudal Japan, yet they made up with the lack of advancement with what she considered magic. With one last muffled scream, the pink-haired medical ninja pulled out the last bubble of water from Kankuro's chest, and with that, the man's expression relaxed. The otherworlders looked at her with awe. There was no way modern medicine would be able to save someone from poison like this, especially one that was about to kill you. We're not out of the woods just yet, the medical ninja dashed the hopes and expectations of everyone in the room. I took out most of the poison, but I can't take out those that have been absorbed by the body. For that, I will need to make an antidote. It's just like watching the slug princess work, Chio commented. You flatter me, Chio-sama, Sakura blushed. But she is my master after all. Nissan, the next generation, Ebizo told his sister. Indeed, Chio nodded. Now then, come to our greenhouse. I'm sure you would need some plants for your antidote, no? Can I come? Annabeth said excitedly. I don't see why not. Chio regarded the sudden outburst. Follow me. At the greenhouse, the daughter of Athena was like a little girl with awe of every little thing she was seeing. This is amazing. The girl gushed. You've grown a lot of medicinal herbs despite the climate. I appreciate the kind words, but this isn't as much as we would have wanted, Chio said humbly. No, this is more than enough, Sakura said, as she finished picking out the plants she needed. I'll be able to make 3 antidotes with your current stock. That's good to hear, Chio smiled. Once they returned to the treatment room, Annabeth noticed Naruto with a faraway look on his face. He's been like this since you left, Selena said. He's worried about Gaara, Kakashi explained. Don't worry, Naruto, Sakura comforted the boy. We can leave once I make the antidote. We'll succeed like we always do, Annabeth said with confidence. It's just that this is supposed to be a training mission, Naruto complained. Why did they have to strike now? Calm down, Naruto, Selena said with worry. How can I? I have to conquer this fuzzball in my gut, and save Gaara, Naruto said aloud. And Kronos is preparing to attack Manhattan while we're here. Annabeth took Naruto's hand. We've been on countless quests together, she said. You had always been there for us, convincing us that nothing is impossible no matter how stacked the odds are against us. Now let me be the first to tell you that we are going to succeed. We will get back on time to defend Manhattan. Naruto smiled. You're right. And while you were moping around, I finished the antidote, Sakura cut in. Once we're sure Kankuro here survives, we're leaving to track down Gaara. Sakura-chan, Naruto smiled at her as well. You've become quite the medic. You're just like Barkan. Sakura huffed. I won't allow you to move farther from me, Char. Just then, a coughing sound came from the examination table. Temari rushed over to her brother. You're okay. Gee sis, the puppet master managed through ragged breaths. That hurts. Chio walked up to the siblings. Kankuro, was it really Sasori that you fought? It was definitely him, the younger Sabaku's voice took on a serious tone. Every puppet I threw at him, he knew how to counter. There's no doubt it's him. Sister, Ebizo placed a hand on the old woman's shoulder. I didn't want to believe it at first, her voice trailed off. I have no choice. I will go with you. I will bring my grandson to justice myself. But Nei-san, you're too old for this, Ebizo protested. Nonsense. She waved him off. I'm still as strong as an ox. Suna is not so weak that it would let Konoha handle everything. I see no problem with that, Kakashi said. Take us to where Kankuro fought Sasori. There is bound to be some scent left for me to track. Wait. Kankuro called their attention. He flicked his finger and Karasu's severed hand flew towards his bed and revealed a piece of cloth from the Akatsuki member's mask. I took this from him after I was thoroughly beaten, he said. Use it. Then I'll. Wait. Naruto knew what his sensei would suggest, so he spoke up. What is it, Naruto? The Jonin asked curiously. I have been practicing this for since the war broke, so I wanted to give it a try. He took the piece of cloth, and gripped it in his palm. It was like a map was being drawn in his head. He couldn't explain it, but he somehow knew where to look for the terrorists. Let's go, was all he said. Sakura looked at him with awe. It looks like she wasn't the only one with new skills. Naruto, how did you? There's no time, the blonde cut her off. They barely just started. And so they ran. They ran as fast as they could. They didn't know where they were going, but they followed the blonde's lead. As an experienced tracker, Kakashi could see how Naruto was behaving. He was looking for every minor detail in the vast desert. Despite the time that had passed, he was able to tell where they had to go. Hell, even he could pick up the scent in the air. That impressed him. Eventually, the group left the desert and entered the forest once again. It was then that Chio asked the question that had been bothering her. Why does a shinobi of Konoha care deeply for someone who isn't a part of his own village? Well, you see, Naruto and Gaara are the same. Sakura and Chio were surprised. The same how? Sakura clarified. They both have a tailed beast inside of them. That bombshell shook Sakura. What shook her more was that these foreigners were not at all surprised. You already know this. She directed the question to Annabeth. I'm surprised you didn't know about it till now, the daughter of Athena shrugged nonchalantly. It was the third's doing, Kakashi explained. In an attempt to give Naruto a chance at a normal life. And that worked out so well, Naruto added, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Forget about that right now, he turned, showing the marks of a sage. We're close. And they're pretty powerful people. But Naruto, Sakura tried to protest, but Naruto raised a hand to stop her. Save it. We've got to save Gaara. Chio studied the boy. Perhaps there's hope for the future yet. She gave out a hearty laugh. I like your spunk, boy. Reminds me of my old rambunctious self. Fine then, lead the way. And so Naruto did. He led him down a cliff and down on a river below. It seemed there were only cliff and water for miles, but there was one portion of the cliff wall that stood out. There was a protrusion. On closer inspection, the protrusion was a rock that was blocking a cave entrance. And in the center of the massive rock was a sealed tag. Out of rage, Naruto slammed his fist as hard as he could on the giant rock. The cliff around them shook and the river water swayed from the shock of Naruto's outburst. Gah! He growled. Why won't it break? While Naruto was complaining, Kakashi was studying the piece of paper under the rock. Interesting, he said. That seal is creating a barrier that's protecting the rock. Then all we have to do is remove the seal, right? Silena pointed out. Yes, but this type of seal usually uses 4 separate sealing tags, Kakashi explained. It would take time to look for them from scratch, Naruto complained. My, Kakashi. It looks like I found you in a pickle, Guy's flamboyant voice interrupted. Bushier brow sensei. Naruto greeted as he saw the Jonin and his team approached. My, Naruto, you've changed a lot from the little kid who used to join my taijutsu lessons, Guy greeted back. I still practice every day, sensei. Naruto saluted. And I still have this. He reached inside his shirt and showed part of the green spandex that he wore under his jumpsuit. Yosh, Naruto. Lee cheered much to Tenten's annoyance. Let us let our flames of youth burn bright and have a spar sometime. Kakashi deadpanned, please don't turn my student into another you. Guy laughed out heartily. Don't tell me you're jealous, Kakashi. Ah, I thought we were under a time limit. Annabeth got the topic back on track. Right, Guy said, you said there were 4 other ceiling tags. Kakashi nodded. You're in luck. The green beast entered his infamous nice guys pose, cause Neji is here. Flames of youth? Annabeth asked. It's their famous catchphrase, Naruto explained. Now, back to the matter at hand, Kakashi brought the team back to their current problem. Neji, if you will. The Hyuga nodded. He raised his hand into a half-ram seal and chanted, Byakugan. The white-eyed shinobi's field of vision widened. It zoomed through the jungle around them and along the banks of the river. And then, got it, he said. He relayed the data to his team. Wow, that's useful, Silena commented. Well, you've seen nothing yet, Neji added. Now that we know where the other seals are, we sync our communicators to the same frequency, Kakashi said. My team will handle the seal dismantling, while you engage the enemy, Guy added. We'll come to aid you as soon as possible. Neji walked up to Naruto. Your words long ago have changed the Hyuga clan. The main and branch families are basically non-existent now. For that, I thank you. Once all of this is over, we should have a drink sometime. Naruto gave out a pained expression. I would love to, Neji, but we're in a race against time. From what Naruto said, the Hyuga nodded. He didn't ask any further. It was something that involved his new family or these curious foreigners. He didn't want to pry. Whenever you're free then. Naruto slammed a fist into his open palm. Yosh. Let's get our game faces on and save Gaara. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.